I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you'd already know that the title of tonight's show is At the Last Minute. And it sounds a little urgent, doesn't it? But that's because today we are having a fabulous full moon at 28 degrees of Leo. And so something that could occur at the last minute, and it could involve leadership in one way or another. Because that full moon at 28 degrees of Leo is very close to the 29th degree of Leo, which is where the fixed royal star Regulus is, that has the brightness of 100 of our suns, and it is also the degree of fate. In other words, something is getting it can be seen fully by a lot of people, and it's getting to be right down to the wire as to what kind of a decision should be made about something. And that is because Leo rules children, and it rules sports and the entertainment field, and it rules love affairs and gambling and horse racing. And it rules leadership, and it rules courage, and it rules wanting to be in control. It doesn't just rule sports, it rules wanting to be the captain of the team. And that is because Leos just feel confident enough to feel that they are capable of taking responsibility for other people and sometimes telling them what to do. So they are sort of natural born leaders. But that is the question that might get decided at the last minute in one way or another. And the reason why it can be difficult to make a decision about leadership is because there are 5 planets in the fixed signs, and Leo is a fixed fire sign, and they are all squaring and opposing each other. And that means there's going to be a lot of difficulty with people who are undecided or simply are doubtful about things. And the reason why is that we know under a full moon, the moon opposes the sun. So the full moon in Leo at 28 degrees today is opposing the sun at 28 degrees of Aquarius. Now there are no other planets in fire signs, so there's no support for the full moon, but there are no other planets in air signs either. However, Aquarius has more planets in it. Not only is the sun in Aquarius at 28 degrees, but Mercury has just come into the sign. It's at 2 degrees of Aquarius, and Saturn is there as well, and all 3 of those planets are opposing the full moon in Leo today. And on top of that, Uranus in Taurus, which is a fixed financial sign and is a malefic planet, is squaring the full moon, but it is also squaring the Sun, Mercury, and Saturn in Aquarius. So Uranus is squaring the lights. And the problem is that Uranus is the planet that's fortified, but since there are no other planets in fire signs, and there's no other planets in air signs except the 3 in Aquarius, these 4 planets together in Leo and Aquarius are at a real standoff. They're not getting along at all, because Leo represents control and leadership, and Aquarius represents freedom and the future. And they're opposing each other, and Uranus and Taurus is putting pressure on because it's squaring all of them. So when the sun and the moon square or oppose each other, that can lead to indecision or confusion. And that is certainly around right now. And so, yes, a question of leadership has to be resolved one way or another. But I think that I think first of all, there has to be an understanding about the financial pressure that is involved. And the reason why you have to take a look at that first before you take any action is because Uranus is the only planet that is fortified in fixed signs. And that's because Uranus in Taurus is being trined beautifully by Mars and Venus in Capricorn. They are both at the 17th degree. Mars, which is exalted in Capricorn, and Venus are in their own orbits, but they are in perfect alignment, both at the same degree. The 17th degree. Oh, when we reduce numbers, we add digits. 1 plus 7 equals 8. 8 is the number of Scorpio, the other fixed financial sign. And lo and behold, both of Scorpio's rulers are in Capricorn, because Mars is there being joined by Venus, and then Pluto is later on in the sign in Capricorn, and all three of those planets are trining Uranus as well. Mars and Uranus are malefic planets, but they're in very good aspect, and they're very strong right now. They're sort of working for the good right now. And those are the planets, the four in the Earth signs, that are getting along really well. And the planets in the fixed signs are not. And that's why it's going to be a little bit hard, and why some decision about leadership is probably going to be made at the last minute. You know, it's really going to get down to the wire before somebody makes up their mind on something. So there are two different areas that require our attention, and believe me, you ought to review them before you decide to take any action at all. Because remember, there's no planets in the fire signs except the full moon in Leo, and it's at 28 degrees. You know, by the time you go to bed tonight, it is not going to be in Leo. It'll move fast and go right into Virgo, and then there won't be any planets in fire signs. So don't be too hasty in taking action right now. Instead, think about the different possibilities. And one of them regarding money is that in a financial situation, you really have to be concerned with money or the lack of it. And it might be more that you're more concerned about the lack of it, since inflation is so high. It's robbing our paychecks. It's just taking the money out even before we get the money, because inflation is so high. And that means your dollars aren't worth as much. Somehow somebody has got to turn off the printing presses. They've got to stop printing money. Because the more they print, the less value it has, because it gets more and more inflated. So there can be a problem with money or the lack of it. Now, this could relate to the costs of something as well. Maybe you're thinking about buying something and you're worried about the cost of it. Or maybe you already own something, but you're worried about how the costs are escalating on it. So that could be a problem. And right along with that, you could be saying, and where am I going to get the money to pay for it? There's a lack of funding as well. And this is more or less throughout the world and throughout society. The second thing that you really need to worry about, besides money or the lack of it, is the question of leadership. And the reason why is that leadership, which is ruled by Leo, is not too well favored right now. That's because there's too much pressure on that full moon in Leo, and it has no backup. And so I think what that can mean is that the reason there can be a problem in deciding about leadership is because somebody, somewhere, wants to make a power grab. They want the control. They want to have it all their own way. So that's a power grab. And whoever that is, that person belongs more to the past than to the future. There's more planets in Aquarius, and that rules the future. And there's only one in Leo. So they could make a power grab, but they belong to the past. They were powerful. And they must have realized that they lost some of their power because now they're back to wanting to grab more. Okay, so I don't think that's going to work. And the reason why it probably isn't going to work is because hopefully whoever wants to make the power grab is going to be just like you and me, and is going to stop and think about, oh, how much is this going to cost me? Because war costs a lot of money, and any power grab costs money because you're taking something from others. And so in a way, I think that whoever wants to make the power grab right now might back off, because it would be too expensive to do that. Now, they wouldn't care what other people pay, but if they are the ones that are going to go make a power grab and not get a lot in return for it, or it's going to be very costly to do that, then maybe they will think twice and not make the power grab. And that leads us to, how can we get out of this mess? And I think that it comes about by making a decision at the last minute. But we've been looking at planets in fixed signs, haven't we? Okay, they're not getting along too well. A lot of pressure. And there's no reinforcement either for the air signs or the full moon in Leo, because nothing's backing them up. So let's take a look at the planets that are getting along. And that is that Uranus and Taurus, which is being trined beautifully by Venus, its own ruler, in Capricorn, and the exalted Mars is conjuncting it, both at the same degree within their orbits in perfect alignment, and Pluto is also in Capricorn. Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. Scorpio is the other fixed financial sign. I think that by looking at the power and the cooperation and sort of the easy way of doing things that prevails among the earth signs, I think what that means is that a decision can be made at the very last minute about a financial matter or about a leadership issue, and I think it can be made by people who are the captains of industry. They are the people that go to work every day. They are the people who save money. They are the people who perhaps have built, through their own hard work and others, have built great companies. That's why they're called the captains of industry. But you know, they have survived. And that's their calling card. They are smart enough to have survived. They have, when they've seen things that were too costly, they've backed off. They've found another way. But they've survived. And now these 4 planets in the earth signs are telling us, you know, we could survive too if we just were a little more practical. If we worked a little harder. You know, if we saved more money. You know, turning off the printing presses and just working and saving. You know, you could think that's old-fashioned, but it does keep the ball rolling. It keeps your family fed. It keeps the next generation doing even better than you. And so that's where we are at the very last minute. I think that we're going to get pretty practical because those earth signs are having a field day right now. They're doing okay. Or they'll scale back if they have to. Or they won't allow a power grab because it's going to be too expensive for them if somebody tries that. So they might just talk somebody out of trying that so that nobody loses any money or loses less of it. Okay, so what does this idea of at the last minute mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think that the good news is the full moon right now in Leo is trining your sun sign, Aries. And that means that you can be more popular, or you can be very attracted to somebody who is a leader, or who is interested in sports or children or love affairs or whatever. In other words, you can sort of be on the go a little bit, Aries, or wanting to develop new things. And with your increased popularity, you really should be looking for new avenues of expression right now. The reason why you should be doing that, though, is a practical reason. And it is because the 3 planets that are in Capricorn, which is a cardinal sign, and so is yours, Aries, those 3 planets are Venus, Mars, your ruler, and Pluto. And Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio. It rules taxes, and it rules money coming in from any other source. So it could be grants or insurance proceeds or inheritance, or it could be taxes, either that you owe or possibly a refund coming your way. Those things have to be addressed by you, Aries, because you could want to go to a nice party and have your mind on fun, but there's business matters to attend to. They are so well aspected, I don't think that you can avoid them without some sort of serious constraint on your budget. In other words, it's going to cost you too much if you avoid your responsibilities right now, your practical ones. So go ahead and have a really good time this weekend if you want to, Aries, but really pay attention to the paperwork if you can, because your reputation could be on the line if you don't do something exactly the right way right now. Since these planets are so beautifully aspected and backed up, and they rule business matters or government matters. So those are the things you have to pay attention to. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, this is a time when I'd love to say that you're in the driver's seat, when actually what you need is some help from others who can be quite strong and are what you might call good business advisors. So Taurus, since the 3 planets in Capricorn are beautifully trining your sun, you should go to a tax advisor or to an accountant or somebody who can really sort out your financial affairs and give you some good advice right now. Even if you have to pay for the advice by getting a consultation, you could be richer for it. And without further knowledge, particularly about how the tax laws have changed in 2022, you could be sort of missing out on some things or paying too much. And so that's why it would really pay you to draw on people who are very experienced and very reputable. They're survivors and they have good reputations for surviving. Those are the people you need to listen to because you want to survive too. And they can also give you good advice about a health matter. Now, it might be just about the cost of health insurance or something like that. But, we all have to sort of get a handle on our costs. And those are both current costs and future costs. And you're just in a really good position to be able to get fantastic advice from people who are respected for their knowledge. And you should take advantage of that, Taurus. I mean, you want to keep your money, don't you? Well, then you need some advice on how to do that. And this is a shaky economic time. So whether people want leaders that are wanting to go into the future, or whether they're thinking they'd be safer with people who've been around for a long time and know all the backroom connections, maybe they want somebody like that, I don't know. You should not take sides on anything. You should just go to the experts and listen to them. Because I don't think you have anything to lose and quite a bit to gain. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, Yes, there are 3 planets in Aquarius that are beautifully trining your sun. And they are Mercury, your own ruler, which has just entered Aquarius. It's only at 2 degrees of Aquarius now. But it's direct. All the planets are direct right now. People can move forward. And so Mercury is trining your sun, and so is Saturn, and so is the sun. And so Gemini, I think you need to take advantage of that. That there is a way, since your sign does rule conversation, and it rules easy transitional change, nothing too hard, but still it rules change. I think that this is a time when maybe you can afford to switch your focus a little bit, or to take some of the many different things that you're interested in and actually organize them or prioritize them, so that you don't have to be pulled in a lot of different directions. Instead, as you're prioritizing your interests, if I were you, the number one is the one that you should be concentrating on right now. And that is because it should involve something that has to do with the future, your future plans, for instance, or some sort of wonderful idea that you have that you'd like to try out. Well, this is a perfect time to be a little bit more experimental, or to be, to really be modern, or sort of going into tomorrow, using technology that is very up to date. You might even want to improve your technology skills. Everybody has to do that because software keeps changing. So we have to change with it. And so this is a time when, if you concentrate on your number one priority, I think you can be very successful in it, Gemini. Doors will open. And that is because of those 3 really good planets in Aquarius. Now, they're taking a hit right now. The full moon in Leo is opposing them, but that full moon in Leo is sextiling your sun. It's not hurting you. And the 3 planets in Aquarius are trining your sun. They're not hurting you. They're really helping you. So I think that you are in a unique position as long as you sort of know what you're doing or know what you're going after. And by prioritizing things, you can go after your sort of your number one desire and sort of scope that out and try to find out what the costs are of it. And if you do that for your different priorities, and one of them happens to be less expensive so that it is affordable for you, then that might be a good choice as well. As long as whatever you're choosing goes into tomorrow. You know, not yesterday, tomorrow is what you need to be looking at, Gemini. Gemini is the sign of youth. Geminis always look younger than they are. And they have very youthful attitudes. So if you feel like your life has been stuck in a rut, Gemini, you got to get over that and really head for something new, particularly this summer. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, this is a time when I think that you can be quietly acquiring knowledge about things from behind the scenes. And yes, that knowledge could be having something to do with money or the lack of it. And it could have something to do with leadership, particularly somebody who is making a power grab or wants to make a power grab. You may know who that is, Cancer. And I would say it's not up to you to endanger yourself in any way. But I think that somebody has got to talk to somebody who's on a power trip right now and make them realize they do belong more to the past than to the future. And for that reason, making a power grab is only going to cost them much more than it's worth. For one, they will have no followers. Why would you make a power grab when you wouldn't have anybody following you? And the reason why is that people don't really go, they really don't go back to yesterday. We all have our memories, and we all have people we love that we miss. But, you know, the sun comes up every day in a different place. And we are supposed to as well. And that is so that we can be in the rhythm of nature. I mean, you know, we live on a planet. It's called Earth. It moves. We're supposed to be moving too. So it's. I think you're going to know a lot more than people think you know, Cancer. But you may not need to do too much about what you know. If I were you and you wanted to prevent somebody from making a power grab because it would be pretty disastrous for them, very costly for them, they would not come out a winner on it. And rather than you talking to them, I think it would be a little wiser of you to send an emissary, like a third party, a disinterested third party, who simply wants to convey a message, but under no circumstances should it be acknowledged that it's from you. You could just say, you know, go tell somebody, go point out that this is not a good idea and it's going to cost them way too much money, so that they're listening from an impartial source, and then they can decide. It's not like they have to listen to you or to anybody else, but simply from somebody who is just a third party, maybe a counselor, something like that. So that way, Cancer, you can sit back a little bit and operate more effectively behind the scenes. And the reason why I say that is because Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces, and they are trining your sun. And and Pisces rules things that are hidden behind the scenes. So there can be a lot of secrets around. And I think it would be wiser, even if you would know what those secrets are, if I were you, I would really keep it to myself, Cancer. And don't jump in where angels fear to tread. You don't want to get hurt by something somebody else is trying to do. So just step back and use somebody else to convey a message, or else just don't send a message at all. Whoever's making a power grab, they do know what they're doing. I don't think they've considered the horrible cost of it. And the fact that when it's all done and the horrible cost sinks them, there will be no followers either. What good is a leader without followers? So you need to step back from all that, Cancer. Just keep the home fires burning, keep doing your job, and that's enough for right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, the full moon today is in your sign. That means there's a lot of light on you, Leo. I mean, the world can see you clearly. And also what you want, or what you're doing, or what you're saying. They get the message, Leo. But I wonder if you are considering the cost. And the reason why cost comes up is because that full moon in your sign today, right now, does not have any support. There's nothing in Aries and there's nothing in Sagittarius. And 3 planets in Aquarius, Mercury, Saturn, and the Sun, your own ruler, are all opposing that full moon in your sign today. Well, they're opposing your Sun and the full moon. But, you know, it's sort of 3 against 1 here. And then Uranus and Taurus, which has a lot of backup, is squaring the full moon in your sign as well. I think since these are fixed signs, and there's 5 planets, half of all the planets are only in these 3 fixed signs, all sort of challenging each other strongly, I would urge you to stand back, Leo, and count the cost before you make a move. And then after you've counted the cost, don't make the move. Because if you're sort of getting ready to make a power grab, you could do it because you're so convinced that you can. But you know, to everything, there is a beginning and an end. And I think you could get the beginning off the ground. But you couldn't achieve a happy ending at all. And in fact, there wouldn't be a happy ending. So I just don't think the ball's in your court right now, Leo. And that is because there are two big problems right now that are hard for people to solve. That's why through indecision or confusion, these problems have not been addressed, but they've got to be. One of them involves money or the lack of it. Oh, you know about that, don't you, Leo? Leos are very generous people. It rules extravagance. And Leos don't like to budget too much. So you could be worried about money or the lack of it. And then the second big problem is that it's a leadership problem. People are not certain whether they want leaders who can take them into tomorrow and are interested in future projects, or whether they want people that belong to the past and are sort of, you know, so familiar that they're predictable and have backroom cronies that do things for them. You know, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours is sort of the way that people get favors done. Maybe that makes some people comfortable, but it sure doesn't get you into tomorrow. In fact, it reaffirms an old way of doing things, or it reaffirms the status quo for a few people. And so no real leadership there either. So Leo, I strongly advise you to enjoy having a nice weekend, and before you decide to take action, simply realize that it doesn't look like you have any backup, either financial or through leadership. And so I would say, better wait for another day, or if you can, maybe not right now, but say by this summer, if you can, think of going in a new direction. Not the power grab from yesterday, but some new direction. That would be better for you. I think if you make a move right now, you're the one that'll pay for it. And then the only question is, how much do you want to lose? So don't do it. Whatever you're thinking of, Leo, just put that idea up on the shelf and think of something new that takes you into the future. Because you're going to have a wonderful chance to do that this summer. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think you benefit as well, because the earth signs are so strong. Remember, it's a full moon in Leo, and that's right behind your sun sign. A lot of light in the background of your life, Virgo. You could be a little more popular than people realize. Or you could have your eye on somebody pretty nice right now. That would be great. Or they could have their eye on you. But Virgo, Uranus and Taurus is trining your sun, and Mars and Venus, which are nicely conjuncting in Capricorn, and Pluto are all in Capricorn trining your sun as well. And so I think that at the last minute, that the captains of industry, the ones who have succeeded through thick and thin, because they were able to adapt, or they were able to pull back when they had to, or when they couldn't afford to go forward, but they still stuck it out. Those captains of industry are probably the people that are going to be the great problem solvers right now. You know, particularly in America, hard work pays off. And you can't exactly make it in America without hard work. It's in our DNA to work hard. And we like that. And so I think, Virgo, that you are going to be involved in something that represents an answer to either a financial problem or an answer to a leadership problem. Either way. Or it could be even both. I think you're going to come up with some answers, Virgo. You know, it's very hard to deter a Virgo from the point they want to make. You know, Virgo rules logic. So they are so logical, you know, in their mind. Virgos almost keep little file cabinets in their minds, and they can pull out a file drawer, and then they've got every single point lined up, and they can just say it because they have studied it already and they're prepared. And that's why you may have the answer in your own quiet way. You could have the answer to a financial problem involving money or the lack of it, or to a leadership problem, and possibly to what to do with somebody who wants to make a power grab. Because that would be a disaster. It actually would be more a disaster for the person making it than anybody else. So maybe with your wonderful logical mind, you could convey a simple message that other people really understand, particularly the captains of industry, which I think at the last minute are going to come forward with some good answers. And I think you're going to be involved in that, Virgo. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when you can be thinking about the future a lot. And that's because it could be knocking on your door, Libra. And the reason why I say that is because Mercury, the planet of communication and of the mind, and Saturn and the Sun are all in Aquarius, trining your sun sign. And this really represents, it can be rather prestigious, well-established people or older people that can be coming to you and wanting to involve you in something. And I think you should say yes, Libra. You don't have to put an end date on it. And they're not going to mention an end date either. So, I mean, you don't have to say, oh, gee, I don't have the next 10 years to do this. Well, don't even think like that. Just sort of go along for now and see what happens. Test the waters. Nothing wrong with that. And it can be that after a while, you slowly realize, you know, these people are good people and they already know what they're doing, and I can learn a lot from them. You know, you just need to get to know them a little better. But there can be a reason to stick around, Libra, with people that you do meet, and they may be talking about something. And, you know, I just wouldn't turn my back on them right now because they could represent the future in one. I mean, those planets are in Aquarius, the sign of the future. And some of them are rock solid people. And you could be saying to yourself, oh, I don't really want to be involved in something like that. That's too much work. Well, how do you know until you try? Maybe they don't want you to do any work. Maybe they just want to try out their ideas on you. Maybe they just want your feedback. That's not hard. The one thing is that Libra are, there are many things, but one of the things that Libras are always appreciated for is that they have a wonderful way of expressing themselves, of saying things. And that is because a Libra naturally sort of weighs their words. Because a Libra, that sign rules balance and harmony. And that is how a Libra likes to present themselves. So you have nothing to lose by meeting some new people who actually can have a lot more substance to them than you realize at first glance. So I hope you give some people a chance. Just stick around a little bit, Libra, and take a closer look at them. They could be wonderful for your future. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when you can be affected by the indecision and confusion among these 5 planets in fixed signs today. And that's because yours is a fixed sign, and there's nothing in your sign, Scorpio. So all 5 planets are squaring and opposing your sun sign. So they're pouring their frustration into your sun sign. Now, Scorpio rules secrecy, and it rules the spy business. And you have Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, which does rule secrets, trining your sun. And so you could see that people are undecided about money or the lack of it. That could be an all-pervasive problem because it involves the high debt of the nation and high inflation that affects everybody. And so, that problem's so big, you got to wonder who's smart enough to solve it. It sure isn't the people that made it the problem. I mean, whoever is still around while inflation was going up and kept denying that it was doing that, I don't think they have a clue of how to fix it. So, Scorpio, you could be able to learn information from behind the scenes since the planets in Pisces are trining your sun. So that's good. You could be a person who could find out about the person who wants to make a power grab. And maybe you could think of a way, to head that off a little bit. Not for their sake, but for the sake of other people that they would hurt. So that wouldn't be good. But also, the full moon in Leo today is squaring your sun, and there are no planets in the other fire signs. So you may be around somebody who wants to control you. And I would say good luck on that, because it's not going to happen. Scorpios, it's a water sign. And water has a way of changing shape or changing their substance. And that is why water can sort of go where it wants. It's real hard to stop. And water is terribly strong. Nobody gives it credit for that either. But all you have to do is look at a tiny little rock on the beach and realize there was an awful lot of water that wore it down to being so small. Because that's what water does. It can come up and it can wear something else down over a long period of time. And so that's where it gets its power. It doesn't have gigantic force. It does get power from doing that. And so, Scorpio, don't worry. Nobody is going to be able to conquer you. That isn't going to happen. But you can be frustrated because somebody wants to make a power grab, and it may be somebody in an organization that you are a member of. You might know who that person is. And then the Mercury, the Sun, and Saturn in Aquarius all of which rule the future, are all squaring your sun as well. Meaning there are a lot of people around you right now, Scorpio, that want to break away. They want their freedom. They want to go their own way. They want to do their thing. Well, you might not agree with that, Scorpio. I also don't think you're going to really be able to stop them. You know, you could feel like you're caught between a rock and a hard place. And so the way to sort of ease that situation is to let them go. But let them know that you're interested in how it turns out. You know, don't break a tie with people that want to move on. I mean, if you're not getting along with them, just say goodbye. But if there's something like a child who wants to go do their thing, which they all do want to do sooner or later, and you probably did too, leave the door open somehow, or let them know how interested you are, rather than criticizing them. You may say, oh, I know how that's going to end up, but just say, let me know how that ends up. You know, let them know that you're interested. It makes you look like you're going forward as well with that kind of attitude. And that can make them feel a little safer, like wherever they're going, they know you've got their back. That would be good. And then Uranus and Taurus is opposing your sun sign, and that simply means you can be very concerned with money or the lack of it. And that is because we're in situations, or there are problems that are affecting all of us that are so big that it's hard to find anybody that's got an answer to how to solve them. But I think the practical captains of industry are going to be able to do that. People who have run successful companies through thick and thin, through war and peace, through nature's devastations, and all kinds of setbacks, and still survived. Those are the people that at the last minute are going to have an answer. And I think it'll be the right one. So good luck, Scorpio. Maybe you can help put people in touch that are like that. Sooner we get some of these problems solved, the better. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Sagittarius. This is a time when that full moon in Leo today trines your sun, Sagittarius. So just like Aries, you can be very popular right now. And you can be anticipating some sort of fun, like a great weekend or a trip you want to take. Your sign rules travel, so you love traveling. Or it may be that people from a distance are coming to visit you. That would be very nice. There's also the possibility that you may be feeling like taking a chance on love. And remember, Leo rules love affairs. Not marriage, but it rules love affairs. And so that could be pretty nice for you as well, Sagittarius. There are only 2 planets that are making a harsh aspect to your sun sign. And one of them is Neptune in Pisces, which rules that sign, so it's very strong. And then the other is Jupiter in Pisces. And that simply means that the one thing you have to watch out for is people who are saying things that sound too good to be true. And that simply means that you don't know the whole story, Sagittarius. And you better do a little digging or fact-checking before you believe them. So I wouldn't put my heart completely on the line right now, Sagittarius, unless you knew somebody really well. But if you're meeting somebody who seems like a great romantic interest, go ahead and have some fun. But I would say I use a little caution there and let time sort things out for you. In other words, you have a fine mind. You could do research on a lot of things and come up with a lot of factual answers, but still not have the ability to put those facts together in a cohesive manner, because there could still be more things that you don't know. And so that's why I'm saying let time take care of something. In other words, if you meet somebody you really like, give it 3 months. Ask yourself at the end of 3 months, okay, now what do I know? And then you will be able to make a better decision, don't you think? So just go a little bit slow if you can, Sagittarius. I know you're a fire sign, and fire signs like to act fast. But I would say that there are some people that are quite willing to only tell you one half of the story, not the whole story. And there's a lot of those people around you right now. And that's why you need to sort of keep a little bit of your guard up, or not get too sold right away on something, if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Capricorn. This is a time, since yours is an earth sign, and the harmony and the power is actually in the earth signs, even though the full moon is in Leo today, because it's unsupported, and it simply means there's a lot of indecision or confusion going on about money or the lack of it, and about leadership, particularly someone who wants to make a power grab that would be extremely costly to them. I don't see them succeeding at the power grab, but that may not stop them. They may have such a huge ego, they're just deciding to go for it anyway. But they're not expected to get very far. And that is because of money and the lack of it. Everybody is suffering from inflation. But on top of that, the economy is not really zooming along steadily. You know, sort of up one day, down the next. And that is not too trustworthy. And so, Capricorn, your sign rules retirement and pensions. And so, it can mean that a lot of people can be worried about the stability of their investments because they may have seen some shrinkage. Nobody is richer now that we have inflation. And that's because even if you had $1 million, it is now worth about 7.5% less than it was last month. It's horrible. So, Capricorn, it's very important for you to hold on to what you've got. And you could have some wonderful things. Mars and Venus are conjuncting in your sign. That is, that's a romantic tie. But yours is a business sign, so I would say you might have an opportunity to form some sort of business arrangement with somebody you like. Now, they would be very honorable, and don't worry, I mean, Capricorns are very careful with the figures. Capricorns really know where every penny is. Most earth signs do. So this is a time with Mars and Venus conjunct in your sign that you may be able to strengthen a financial tie or to enter into some sort of organization with somebody that you like. And that could turn out very good over the long run. Even if it was just a little bit doing, you know, a once a month meeting for some good cause, and you just kept doing it and doing it, it would be very nice to be with somebody that you like, that you get along with really well. And you would give you both a sense of accomplishing something. Earth signs like to have results sooner or later. And so that would be nice as well. So it's not, it's sort of it's not a pension plan that you both would be working on and benefiting from financially. The kind of pension plan I'm talking about is something that is reciprocal in feeling. That, you know, you agree, yes, I'll go to this meeting, or I'll do this. I'll share this responsibility with you, and you find yourself agreeing to do that again and again and again. And that happens to be okay with the other party as well. And it can be productive. And so there is a possibility that you would be very successful at that. And there is the possibility that you meet somebody who is nice that you want to work with. And even if you were both retired, you could start to work on something. And that would be pleasing for both of you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when, even though the full moon is in Leo today, I would say the ball's a little bit more in your court, Aquarius, because there are more planets in your sign. So yes, the full moon in Leo is opposing your sun sign, but your sign is loaded. It has Mercury in it, and Saturn, and the sun. And so that's wonderful. For sure, Aquarius, you are thinking of the future. Why shouldn't you? Your future thoughts, though, or your whatever future project that you're thinking of, could be generated by an idea that you have had for a long time. Really a long time. Even, a couple decades. And so I think you're going to do very well. You could be worried about money or the lack of it, but that could be in relation perhaps to taxes. Nobody likes to pay taxes on their own money because you say goodbye to it before you even get it. And so, if for instance on an insurance refund or an income tax refund or a grant or an inheritance, you think, oh, all that money's coming in. Well, no, it isn't, because somebody's going to take the taxes out first. And so that can be a little sticky. That can be thinking about money and the lack of it. But I think that you're sort of in the driver's seat right now, Aquarius. Uranus and Taurus is still squaring your sun, and particularly Saturn in your sign. Well, Uranus is going to be doing that until 2025, squaring your sun. So you'll just have to get used to doing things slow but sure. But you can still do it. Aquarians are forward thinking. And in one of the best examples of what it means to be an Aquarian, I would say that they can be full of hope for a better future. So no matter what your age is, Aquarius, you can still be really putting your heart into something that you think will make a better future, perhaps for your loved ones. And that could be true. So keep at it, Aquarius. I think you can be doing a good job. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is the time when I think that you have to be, just like Cancer, content with finding out more information from behind the scenes that have been hidden. But as you find it out, I would caution you not to do much with it, Pisces. Use it for your own benefit. In other words, it always helps to have a little bit more information than people think you know. Just so that you can be clear-minded about a decision when you want to make one, you can have the facts. And so you can be doing that, Pisces. You can be gathering the facts. And I don't think there's much stopping you. You can do that. The Uranus and Taurus is sextiling your sun. And all of the planets in Capricorn are also sextiling your sun. Even the 3 planets in Aquarius are right behind your sun sign. They're not hurting you. And so Pisces, I would say, whatever you're doing, if it is sort of factual, if you're gathering information, doing research, gathering facts, I would say you should at least be serious enough to put this information in a notebook or something, so that just to test whether you are impartial before you make a decision, You could put the information away in a notebook and just 3 months from now or 6 months from now, review that information before you make a big decision. Because sometimes we react differently to information, and so you need to let it set for a while, and then form a decision. But I don't think this is a good time for you to make a decision, mainly because there aren't any other planets in the water signs. So the planets in your sign are strong, but they don't have any backup. They have a lot of planets sextiling them around you. And that means that there are a lot of things happening which can be around you, but maybe not to you. So don't feel as if you're the Lone Ranger, Pisces, or if you're just stuck home alone or anything like that. I think that you can be using your fine mind. And you can really be thinking quite seriously about a lot of things. And you could be in some sort of creative space where, at least as far as information goes, you are beginning to be able to connect the dots on certain things. They are connecting a little bit more now, and that is making more sense to you. So keep up the good work, Pisces. Okay, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org, or if you tell your friends about the show and you'd like to see it, I can send it to you. If you'd like to subscribe to it on my Karen Campbell YouTube channel, and then I'll send it to you every Wednesday evening at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Bye. Have a good weekend.